Hey everybody, how you doing? It's another great episode of Lunchtime Talk with Steve. We have a lot to talk about today because I know you guys have been looking at the real estate market. You've been looking at so many things, and I mean the real estate market is just like this. It's crazy right now. So I have Lulu here with me, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about the market. When is a good time to buy, the things we have to look out for. They always say location, location, location. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that in just a moment. So right now, go ahead and share the link. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe on the bottom and click the little bell so you'll know when we're on. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you like the page on Lunchtime Talk with Steve. Okay. Uh, Let's go ahead and get started in just a moment. All right, there we go. So here we are. We have Lulu in here with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience. Let them know a little bit about you, and let's get into the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve, for having me. My name is Edloune Dareus. Most people call me Lulu. I am with Asian Plus Realty. I service residential new construction and resale here in South Florida, in Central Florida. So follow me at Edloune underscore realtors
So,
at Instagram, and I'm here for all your questions and, of course, see you at the closing table.
so before we get to the closing table, because we're getting there a little bit fast, hold on.
Hold
How
on.
do we start looking for a property? Should we start looking first and then reach out to a realtor, or should we call the realtor and then go and just go through see 100 different properties with you? What makes it easier for us and makes it easier for you?
The easiest way to start is actually to communicate with us first. So whatever timeline you have in mind, whether it's 6 months or a year from now, communicate with us first. We lay out a plan for you. It's better to have a plan rather than just aimlessly looking and having so much different properties in your head and you have no information. Okay, once I see a property I like, being especially right now in a seller's market, you have to be ready to put that offer, a competitive offer in right away. So I always advise for easier for both of us, the buyer and us as the agent, for you to communicate with us whatever timeline you have in line for us to put a plan together for you.
Okay, so let's say I'm looking to buy a property later on this year. Right now it's what, May, almost June. So if I'm
Mhm.
looking to buy a property, let's say in September, October, when should I start looking?
ASAP. And let me tell you why. You should start ASAP because there's different processes you want to get familiar with. You want to know if you have credits, your credit score. If you, as of right now, a lot of lenders to slow down a lot of people and a lot of purchasing right now, they increase their requirement. For example, notably Chase, they increased their credit requirement to 700 since COVID-19. So it's best to call us so that way we put a plan and look at the different steps and different things that's required to buy. So that way, when you are ready next September, you're well ahead of your competitors that's gonna be looking aimless at other houses.
So they raised it to 700 as a credit score?
Yeah, Chase did. Yeah, that's one of the lenders in the market that actually increased. Even right now, 640 is the norm for just general Fannie Mae as it stands. So credit score and other things they have been doing to just slow down. With COVID-19, people losing their job, they just basically just getting rid, not to say in a bad way, just making it a little bit hard and basically making the people that are stronger with their credit score and income, those are the ones that they're looking for. They're just trying to find a way to keep the market a little bit stronger.
So Ara was asking, how is the market now in the current situation? Is this a buying
Well,
market or selling market?
oh, it's a seller's market because we have so low inventory right now. Everybody's looking for houses, but the sellers don't really, there's not really enough inventory. So for right now, especially in Broward County, is a definitely seller's market in the sense that there's low inventory, but more buyers.
Well, are you finding that that's gonna, or do you think it's gonna flip? Because now with more people losing their jobs, I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking about that? Is it gonna flip where we're gonna start to see it become a buyer's market?
It's gonna be a slow progression. It's like, yes, to your point, millions of people lost jobs.
Hmm.
But when you have buyers and sellers kind of like slowly trying to figure out what's going on with COVID-19, even though we're still closing during the normal basis, we still need a roof over our head. But both buyers and sellers are both like trying to like test the waters. I don't know what it's gonna be like. They both are doing the same thing. To say like flip is gonna flip right away, I
Hmm.
wouldn't think so, but it's been a market where it's going up, so it has to eventually come down, but it won't be like a quick switch where it switched to a buyer's market.
All right. And what are some of the things that people need to look for when they're looking for a house? What do they look for? Because I mean, we see people drive by and go, "Oh, that's a nice house. I want to buy it." What are the other things that we need to start looking at before we decide that we just want that pretty house?
Other than looking at the pretty house, you got to remember what your family want. Your family is first and foremost. You guys gonna live there. For a family with little kids, you want to know, other than the pretty house itself, where's that house located? What's gonna be coming soon in that neighborhood? I have a very short, quick story. I have a buyer that bought a property 2 years ago, but they try to, like, there's a new construction that's gonna come right behind them. Now they try to vote against it, but that didn't happen. So for them, now we're gonna have to move them again. So sometimes there's stuff that you're gonna know ahead of time, but some stuff that you unfortunately have no control of. But I always say, other than just a pretty house, be remember what is important to your family, what's important to you guys, other than the pretty house, and of course your budget. it would include in what's important to your family.
So, and right now, what's the going rate? What's the word I'm looking for? Like on a
The
mortgage,
interest
what
rate?
interest rate? There you go. See, you're not only a realtor, but you're a mind reader as well. I like that.
Well,
Yeah.
the going rate right now, surprisingly, even though with people losing jobs, COVID-19 making us more heightened aware of our safety, the, the interest is very low. It's like 3.75 to 4% on a great credit score like 650 and up. You're still looking at good low interest rate.
Wow. Okay, that's good. Now, do they have any of the home buyer programs? Like a couple years back, you had the federal home buyer, first time home buyer program, and then cities were doing it, states were doing it, counties were doing it. I mean, you could pretty much buy a house and everybody else is paying your money for you. Do they still have those kind of programs or no?
Yes and no. So those programs are always going on throughout the year. So for instance, right now, Palm Beach, they're definitely as a county, they're not doing it. But cities varies. They might doing it in Broward County as well. They have few cities that are not doing it, but the county itself is doing it. And the state itself has a program that actually never run out of money because the way they structure the money, they never really actually run out of money. Of course, when you're getting the money, we have to qualify you properly. But yes, there's always money available for down payment assistance.
So wait, so they never run out of money, but yet they run out of money for education and they run out of money for unemployment. Okay.
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
see the amount the state of Florida actually offer is
Mhm.
not as much as like the city. For like example, the Coconut Creek could give you up to $40,000 towards down your payment.
Whoa, whoa,
So
whoa, whoa. Up to $40,000?
yeah, it sounds like mind blowing, right? When you get that $40,000, it depends on, of course, your income. So your income and then the amount that's actually readily available, but it could be up to that amount. It seems varies, but I know for sure Coconut Creek they go up to $40,000. But when you actually get such a house, oh, I'm sorry, sorry, 1 second.
That's okay. So Lulu actually had to go take care of the baby for a second. Hey, this is how it happens with life. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so that's kind of crazy. Some of these cities can give you that much money. Now, you guys should Google, and this is regardless of where you live. Lulu's here in South Florida, but you can check if you're in New York, if you're in LA, Chicago, whatever. Google it and see what's going on, what they have in your area, because there is a lot of money. There's a lot of first-time home buyer. So definitely look into those things. All right, Lulu, here you are. You're back with us.
I
Question.
am back. I am back. I am a new mother, and this one right here, she doesn't play sometimes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I think I saw a comment on the video saying how far is my territory. I help people Broward and Central. However, as a realtor, we do have a network where we have close knit people that if you do have somewhere that I don't cover, I have a personal reference that I would be able to work with you. I say personal because when I refer somebody out, I still work with you. I just make sure like the transaction goes through with that person to make it easier for them to meet you faster. But I still personally deal with you. So if you're referred out, you'll still be dealing with me in some capacity.
All right, and then let's say, for example, now my camera's acting up. So let's say, for example, then we have a person in Orlando that's looking to get a property. Are you gonna drive up there to them all the time to show them, or do you work with another agent? How does that work?
It depends. I do go to Orlando to actually mostly deal with like the new construction and like the community that does that actually buy the property and actually rent it out. So I depends on what it is. I do actually go and actually drive and spend a day and spend however amount of time I need to assist that buyer. So it all depends on what they're looking for.
All right. And you were mentioning before about some of the first time home buyer programs. I'm
Right.
curious about that because you were saying that you can get up to 40,000, and you said depends on the
Depends.
credit. Is that
Not your credit, but your income. Your
okay?
income.
Your income. So does that go for people who have a high income, or is it for people who have a low income? What determines how much you get?
It's your income and the amount of people that depends on that income. So it's not high and low income. It's more so how many people that's dependent on that income that you have. Are you a household with two people that brings money in and you have four kids, or one person and you by yourself and it's your first time home? So it all depends on what your income is and how many people actually dependent on that income. So it's not really high income and low income.
All right. So, all right. So, but the thing is, though, everyone should try to apply for these programs because you never know
Correct.
what you're going to get.
Exactly.
All right. Perfect. And these programs, like I was saying while you were, taking a little break a second ago, I was telling people to Google it because they may have programs all over. So these programs are not just specific to South Florida, but they
Yeah.
should check in their areas and their counties, their cities, their states, to make sure. Correct.
Correct. Because like you just said, depends on the county, the city, the state. So just because your county doesn't have money doesn't mean your city doesn't have money. It all depends. I actually do, because this is something that I have a lot of clients that actually utilize, and so I am actually well versed in for Florida and itself, Broward County and West Palm. So if anybody have any questions regarding Broward County and Palm Beach County, um, for some home buyer program, feel free to just shoot me a question. I'm here to help. I'm here to guide. Your mic
What
just
up?
went out. Your mic just went out.
Can you hear me?
Now it's better. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I actually ordered another mic off of Amazon because this headset, I don't know. But yeah. So, what about mortgage brokers? Do you guys work with the broker, or should we find our own broker? Should we go through our bank or credit union? How do we go about? What do we do?
Okay, so I do have brokers that I do that have gotten us to closing tables, of course. But if you feel like strongly you have somebody that you want to work with, just to make sure that we actually could get to the closing table with that person, I will interview them just for the sake of both of us to make sure that person is going to be able to help us. Because as we were just talking about first time home buyer, there's a lot of lenders, they could do it, but they prefer not to. So if you bring somebody and you want to do a first time home buyer program, you actually qualify for it, and that person don't like doing it, they don't do it on a normal basis, it's not going to prove valuable to you, because that person not going to do it they might do it to their best ability, but if they don't do it and they're not per se like a person that knows how to do them the best way, it's not going to be a value to you. So I have lenders that does, just general lending, and one that actually focus on just, first time home buy and general lending.
So basically, if they screw it up, you don't get paid. So you want to make sure it goes through.
I want to make sure you get a home. You want to buy a home. A lot of people, when they buy a home, they at the end of their lease, and
That's true.
they're at the end of their lease. So if you're doing that, and if we're in the process, and I have to go above your time that you have with your lease, and you have to end up renewing, that's, you started a process, you're gonna be disappointing. I'm just trying to like make sure you don't get disappointed, basically.
See, that's the answer I was looking for. There you go. All right. So what about inspections and stuff like that? Because a lot of times people go, "Oh, the house looks good. I don't need an inspection. The inspection is going to cost me an extra $500 or whatever. I don't need that. This house looks good." What do you say about that?
I would say, please do not use your eyes to make decisions like that,
Hmm.
especially on a thing that you cannot see what's behind the wall.
Hmm.
There's the wall has paint, has a drywall. You don't know if that drywall, just because it looks pretty with the paint, doesn't mean that there's no leak behind it. Doesn't mean that it was not Chinese drywall. So for the sake of both of us and for your future investment and for your family, I do advise taking on, making sure the house is inspected. Unless you're a general contractor, or perhaps you know somebody that is a general contractor or that knows an inspector that could actually come and do it, please. You are getting a big investment. This is a big investment you have to do. I do advise strongly do a due diligence, which include an inspection.
And that's yeah. So then the inspection is going to include electrical, plumbing, roofing, all these things in one.
Yes, correct.
So nobody should come and say, "Oh, it's going to be extra for this and extra for that." It should be an all in one kind of inspection.
No. So like when you call the inspectors, they're gonna ask you, because everybody differs. They might want just general, but to do the deal, you need to have, for some people bypass the general, which is the general inspection is just for you, and for me to negotiate. And the electrical, the plumbing, the roof, those are for and mostly for insurance purposes. And they also is for you as well to know, okay, do I have an electrical issue and all of those. So you will get different price point for them, but it is something that 90% of the time people just order together and actually is needing for it.
All right. And just to make sure, my audio is good though, right? I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
you feel good.
Okay.
You feel good.
I feel like what was the guy? What was it the other night? Jagged Edge and those guys on Instagram where the audio was all messed up and everything. I don't remember.
Nobody could hear that. They were just standing like that.
Yeah, I feel like them now. I feel like hey, but hey, again, they're multimillionaires with a radio station and everything, and they were having issues. Hey,
Technical things happen. That's what it is.
yeah. So what other information can you talk about that I didn't think about asking that you see as an issue a lot of times with first time buyers or even with seasoned buyers?
In general, as a first-time home buyer, I do wanna people get overwhelmed quick, no matter how much you try to take on the process in itself on your shoulders, but they still get inundated thinking, they just get inundated in the process in itself. Sometimes it could take long, sometimes it could take short time. But I do say to people, as a general first-time home buyer, please don't listen to what happened to your last person that bought a home. You don't know their whole story. Start the process with you and your family. Understand you and your family. Know what your family want, and remember throughout the whole process what's important to you and your family.
All right. So give me just a moment. I want to just do a promo of some of our things that. Can you hear me?
Let me
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. It was louder earlier, but it's fine.
What about now?
It's still a little low, but I'm hearing you. It's just low, but it's fine.
All right. I guess I don't know. I definitely got to
I'll
get
come
that
closer to the phone. It's fine.
No, it's probably me. It's me. Yeah, I don't know why. These are the issues. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
It's still the same. It's still the same. Like I said, I can hear you. It's just not as loud as we started.
All right, I'm not sure why. I'm still
Yeah.
having issues, but I definitely I ordered another mic. I'm waiting for it to come in. You know how Amazon is right now. Amazon is so slow.
I know
So
what you mean. I bought one for this too, but my phone is not set up for the mic.
no, it's okay. So I lost my train of thought. My promo. Hold on just a moment, okay? I want to just promo some of the shows that we have coming up. Um, so 1 second. What we have coming up, we have two shows. Oh, one moment. There we go. Oh. There we go. No, there we don't go. But either way, so I just want to let you guys know, I for some reason it didn't come up like it should have. But we have two shows that are going to be coming up next week. One of them we are going to be with we're going to speak to Jerome Hill. He is a former police officer in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh. Um, so Jerome is going to talk to us about some of the issues that we saw recently with the police department and between the police and the black community. He's going to talk to us about the things that he saw from the other side of that blue wall and how how we can help to make things a little bit better for us as far as voting, as far as making sure that we have the right person in the district attorney's office, and also about what it's like to be a black police officer. One of the things that we fail to realize is that you know it's not easy for them on the other side either. So we want to talk to him about that. And I'm not making any excuses. So I know people are going to tell me I'm making excuses for the cops. No, wrong is wrong. 100% wrong is wrong. Those cops that stood by and watched that happen, they should be prosecuted for murder as well. Because if I stood by and watched one of my friends kill someone, I'd go to prison just the same way as them. So we need to make sure that that those things are prosecuted. We want to find out a little bit more about what happens behind that blue wall. Also on Wednesday, we have another episode coming up where we're going to talk to some of the teachers that oh, one second. I shared the wrong one again. So on Wednesday, we're going to talk to some of the teachers that have been to China and what it's like to be a black teacher in China, what it's like to live in China, what it's like to actually, you know, to I don't know what the culture is like. Is it different than it is here? We're going to talk about everything from the food because, from what I understand, the Chinese food is not the same thing that it's not the same thing that we have here in the U.S. So let's see. Now I have let's go ahead and there we go. So I finally got that working. So now let's get back to Lulu. Hey Lulu, what's going on?
Can you hear
Are you
me?
back? Yep, I can hear you.
Awesome. I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
No, I was saying let's see. Oh, there we go. No, I was just saying we're back. I'm wondering what happened that my mic went low though. That's crazy. I don't know what happened.
It happens, right? It happens to the best of us.
All right. Yeah. So let's see what we have going on here now. All right. So getting back to the credit score. Now, is there someone that you work with that that if let's say for example the credit score is a little bit lower than you would like, that they can help to boost that credit score?
Yes. So I cover two sides of it. I have a person that actually, do the credit report repair, and I have the lender that actually do the first time home buyer program himself. He actually, once you get to a certain point, actually look at it and get it ready for you to buy a home. So you could fix your credit and delete a lot of things, and yet you still have some stuff that they have to backtrack. So it depends on what it is. It is best that you get both sides looks at. So I cover both. I have both of those people on my teams to be able to help.
All right. So your team is like an all-encompassing team. I mean, you have everybody. You have a little bit of everybody on your team.
You have to, because you have to be able to assist your client. Whatever comes up, you have to be a resource and be able to guide the client to get to the finish line and beyond that. Because just because they just bought a home, that doesn't mean that they're not going to have a question arise whether this is a third property or whatever amount of property to purchase. You have to be ready for all of that.
Okay, so let's say a person bought a home and then they realize that, hey, wait a second, this is not I got the inspection, I got everything done, but still the electrical is crappy or the plumbing is crappy or whatever. Do they have a recourse after they sign the papers, or is it like, okay, well, buyer beware, you're stuck with it? How does that work?
Well, we have to figure out where the root of the issue is. Is something that during the inspection that was inspected that was already wrong, that was fixed, or
Hmm.
was it something that was never there that arrives? So if it's something that was there that was fixed already, usually with me, when it comes to me, if the sellers fix something, I do always ask for a warranty. So we would actually just go back to the person that provided that warranty and have them come back. If it's something new that arrives, as a new owner, that is something that you would have to undertake. If it's something that's above what you would normally undertake, then we have to go through the process of finding out with the insurance and all the different things. So there's not a direct way to say, okay, if this happened, this is going to be that. But definitely, the to start to actually diagnose and solve the issue is to know what it is, where it's from.
Well, so that goes to another thing though. What about disclosure? Does a person have to disclose issues with the house? I mean, does the seller have to tell you anything or any of that? Or is it just, oh, well, I hope they never find out kind of thing?
Yes, there's a lot of disclosures that have to be disclosed. If a property is owner occupied, they would have a seller disclosure for us. And a lot of time, for me personally, I do request that the seller provide a seller disclosure, along with the fact that we are going to do inspection. There are disclosure that are needed to be disclosed, such as if you know the roof is leaking, you gotta tell us. But we're gonna do an inspection. But of course, it is best that you provide us with that information up front, so that way, as a buyer, we already are looking for it, and we already gonna figure out, do we want you to fix it, or we gonna fix it later.
But they don't have to tell you, oh, John Wayne Gacy used to live in this house and he had bodies stuck in the wall or anything like that.
He has.
I mean, hey, he did. He had bodies stuffed in the wall. I mean, so they don't have to tell you that, though, do they?
A lot of things, such those things, if it was a grow house, it is best that you disclose that, especially, if you disclose that to the seller's agent, the seller agent has to disclose it to us. I myself have to have disclosures. So everybody involved in the process has to have disclosures in place. For example, simple as if I'm related to the buyer, I have disclosed to everybody that I'm related. It's just there's certain things, if you have to ask yourself, do I need to tell the seller? Do I need to tell the buyer? Do I need to tell my agent? For the sake of everybody involved, for just as a rule of thumb, disclose it.
All right. So if it used to belong to like a drug dealer back in the '80s and they have money still buried in the backyard, they're gonna disclose that to you. I mean, look out for the
Huh?
$100,000 buried in the backyard. We got money in there. We got cash.
I don't think nobody's gonna disclose that to you. They're gonna say, they're gonna come back and say, I forgot something.
The house used to
I don't
belong to
think anybody's
Escobar,
gonna
so you
disclose,
might
or I
want.
have money.
They're gonna be like, the house used to belong to Escobar, so you might want to be careful at night when you see the cars driving by real slow.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna disclose having money somewhere. I think they're gonna take their money and go before they leave, because you have to have the house empty by the time you close anyways. So when we do the final walkthrough, if we see something that needs to be gone, either the seller's gonna pick it up ASAP or give us a timeline, or we get rid of it. So once you
Mhm.
gone, anything that's in the house, money or otherwise, everything belongs to the new buyer, to the new homeowner.
Right, including the problems with the house.
So don't come back saying, hey, I forgot some money I buried in the backyard. No,
I'll have two
no,
dogs
I'm
in
the
the
new owner
backyard
now.
just to make sure. Have two big dogs, two big pit bulls in the backyard. So you come back for your money, no way.
No, 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 no.
So what about
Speaking
gated
of,
communities? What about gated communities and gated developments? Is it better to buy in a gated community, or is it better to buy in a standalone community? or even a 55 and older community, are there any I don't want to say tricks, but are there any loopholes to allow a person that's not 55 to move into one of those communities? Or
Yes,
you just
there
have to
is. So
marry
like,
you just have to marry somebody that's older than 55.
so yes and no. So when it comes to 55 plus community, they do have a 80-20 rule where 20% of the community could be somebody that's not 55. But one person do have to live in the community, have to live in a community that are 55. But there is this 80-20 where if you have if your grandma, you want to live with your grandma, you could do that because of the 20% rule. And in regards to like gated community, that all depends on your lifestyle. Do with a gated community, there's gonna come association fee. How much of association fee do you want to be part of your mortgage? Because that is calculated within the mortgage. So after it's calculated, you're gonna pay it separately, but it is a cost that you're gonna have to pay. That even when you finish paying the mortgage, that fee is always going to be there. It does go up and down, just like life. We don't have a true control over it, but it's something to actually be mindful of. Depends on where the property is and it's located. The association fee gonna include a lot of stuff that's beneficial to you, such as the insurance, such as cable, such as water. So it all depends on a few different things that we will have to discuss and better and qualify to make sure if that's the lifestyle that your family do actually want.
Okay, so for the 55 and older, and I mean, because right now we have a lot of people coming down from New York and from up north that are buying here and it's pushing up our prices. But I noticed that those prices aren't really going up as fast as the other prices. Are they kind of, do they have something that says the price cannot go up too much or what? Because you look in the 55 and older community and a house that costs you 125 or 150 outside of that community could easily cost you 250.
Right. There's no such thing that says that the price of a property in a 55 plus cannot go up, because you do have, depends on the location. You do have properties for 55 plus that cost the same thing as a all age community or an all age place. So it's just the market and the demographic for 55 plus basically made that price. It's not a per se like a ceiling for it. It's just they, based on the community, made that price. The market made that price.
All right. And of course, then when, well, not of course, but when we start looking for houses, we tend to look on the top of the we tend to look at the best house in the market in a particular area. What Because I heard people say it's better to own the worst house in the best neighborhood than the best house in the worst neighborhood. I mean, is that the way we really want to look at it, or do we just want to buy a house?
I didn't hear the question completely, but I think you were asking about the neighborhoods and the type of houses that are in the neighborhoods.
Right.
Okay. So once again, yes, to a point, you could have a house that's really beautiful and it be in a bad neighborhood, but it's vice versa. I wouldn't say when you're looking at for properties, when you're looking online, there's a lot of stuff that when you see a house, for example, Palm Beach, they're known to have a lot of membership, right? Those property, when you're looking at them, you see a nice, beautiful three bedroom, two bath that's for $88,000. You're like, what is that about? And you ready to pounce on it. But there's a lot of information that's talking about membership. For example, for local clubs, you'll need, $70,000 as initiation fee. So when it comes to looking up online, we don't mind you looking up online, but we as professionals, we know what you told us and we know what to look for, and we'll actually be able to weed those out properly for you. So I wouldn't per se say, you know, go on that notion of, oh, there's house and this and that. Just as always say, focus on what's important to your family and where your family want to be.
Now, Glenn actually has a question here. She's looking to buy in Florida. How easy is it for someone that lives outside of the state of Florida to actually buy here? Because they can't go and drive around like I can. I live in Broward. I can just drive from place to place with you. What about a person that's outside of the state that wants to move here? How does that work?
Okay, that's actually perfect because right now I'm actually working with a client that's moving from North Carolina to back to Palm Beach. Now, granted, with her, she's lived in Florida and she's just coming back. But in a case where the person never lived in Florida, we tour the community for you. You of course come, you could look at it yourself, but we tour the community. You tell us what you're looking for. I tour the community. I made an appointment with you to do a visual virtual showing. Before virtual showing what was all about for our clients that's out of state, video calls was our best way to see the community through our eyes for them. So I would actually do a drive by the neighborhood, email you what's in the area, show you the property, show you the neighborhood. So we will actually be able to let you see the property through your eyes.
So now with the whole COVID-19 and everything, I'm assuming you can't do open houses like you did before. How does that change? How did that whole thing change your way of doing business? Because it used to be easier to just do an open house and you had 20 people come in at the same time, right?
Right. So for right now, we're doing a lot of virtual open houses where we personally are at the property and we're doing a tour of the property. And as we are doing right now, people are on and asking us questions, telling us, "Oh, go back here, show me there." So we are doing virtual houses, virtual open houses, and virtual tours for buyers.
So that actually could work out better for you because now instead of 20 people coming, you can have 100 people on there at the same time.
Exactly. You don't have them bumping shoulders, right?
Yeah, see? They're staying home
But
and they're just
no,
looking at
I
it.
mean it's better, not better, because I do me personally as because I took on this career because I do love the human interaction. So I can't wait for that to come back. But for now, I am all right showing you the property, in a safe way. A lot of us now, the new norm is just masks, gloves, Windex, Clorox spray, and wipes. So when I go to showings now, before I go inside the place, even though it's just me alone, I go in there, wipe down everything. And if the person, because they see it virtually, it's not always, they don't, for somebody that's about energy, they want to see the property themselves. So
Mhm.
I have to go ahead and prepare the house for them, wipe it down, then have them come and look at it by themselves, and then come out and ask me questions.
So do you guys stage them too, like you see on TV when you see List in New York or whatever you call the show? I don't remember the name of the show, but they stage the houses and put the couch and the this and they stage it. Do you guys do that too, or is that just on TV?
Yeah, so like properties, a lot of the properties do look better when it's staged. I'm not quite sure of the totality of the question, but the property is better staged, and we will disclose to you that is staged. And it's actually a lot of us now for some of the listings, we're not doing physical staging, but we're doing more of a virtual staging, and we let you know in the bottom of the picture. Like for me personally, I let you know in the bottom of the picture this is a virtual stage, so you're able to see and get some ideas what you could do with your space when you move in it.
All right. We have another question here. Do you, yes, she does service outside of Broward County. You said you go all the way up to Orlando, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I personally service outside of Broward County, but as I said, we're as realtors, we're global. I live locally, but I practice globally, meaning that no matter where you want to go, I am right here with you in your pocket. The only difference is that I'm gonna just have a person show you what's going on in that specific area, but I will personally, like I said from earlier, I will personally be involved in the process with you.
And what let's see, how would you want them to contact you if they had a question?
You could my phone number. I'll It's 954-687-2842. You could email me at Lulu my realtor one at gmail.com. That's LULU my realtor, the number one at gmail.com. And of course, my Instagram is on the screen at Edloune underscore FL Realtors. And I am also on Facebook.
All right. So let's go ahead and put that on there. Oh, there we go. See.
That's
So
good.
now the
Yeah,
info.
without the cast, but yes,
Oh yeah, I put that so that people would see the
I appreciate that. Thank you.
it'll still go through with the cap. So let's see. Oh yeah. So she's asking about St. Petersburg.
Actually, yes, our office is, we do have our office near there. So I would have somebody within my agency that actually will between them and I will be able to show you to help you out.
And St. Pete is nice. I've been over there a couple of times. I've been to Largo. Largo's a little town outside of Tampa. Over in that area is really nice. It's quiet. I like it over there. Yeah.
Yeah, in those area, the properties that you get compared to what you buy in Broward County, it's actually a big difference. My favorite in that side is actually Port St. Lucie and Tampa is good, but my favorite is not my number one is Port St. Lucie right now. Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, Port St. Lucie is good too. That's just right up the street here, and I like that too. It's quiet, but Um, I don't know. It put it this way: everything outside of Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach, they're quieter and they're cheaper. I don't know why we're so expensive down here in South Florida.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not that it's not quiet because I do know a lot of quiet neighborhoods in Broward County and Palm Beach. It's
yeah,
just
but they're
the
expensive.
yeah, it just depends. I wouldn't say per se expensive because it depends on what your family. If you have to be in Broward County, your budget's gonna be able to suit that. It's kind of like people moving from New York to Florida. It's just what's going on in that infrastructure, and basically, expensive is relative to where you're staying. Nothing is ever really truly expensive. It's just we'll be able to find you a deal, whether it's a seller market or buyer's market. We'll find you a deal. You just sometimes it'll take patience, so you'll have to come in with that patient and remembering your why. Why are you doing this? Why you want to buy this house? Or if it's your investment, why are you doing this? So it's always have to remember that.
All right, yeah. Glenn said she can transfer her job to Tampa, so St. Pete would work for her. So
Nice. Well, Glenn, I would love to talk to you and help you out, Glenn. You gotta give me a call and I'll help you out.
all right. And so what about investment properties? Do you do investment properties as well? Like if a person wanted to buy a duplex or a triplex or quadplex, do you do that kind of stuff too, or no?
The investment properties that I do prefer personally, because I myself do investment as well. So I personally favor the multifamily, but if it depends on your budget. If your budget could get a condo or a villa, and the association is not gonna eat into your profit too much, it's fine. So for me, what I do is when we are talking about investment. I ask you what type of return on investment do you want? Do you want 5%? Do you want 8%, 10%? So like we discuss it so we find out how these numbers translate into a condo, a villa, a multifamily. And for people that might not have all of the money down or self-employed, for people that are business owners, there's different programs that actually kind of slow down during COVID-19. They're now starting to come back. Some of them actually completely shut down their doors. Kind of programs like as bank statement, where the lender will look at your bank statement to be able to lend you money because you don't have the traditional W-2 or pay stub to prove your income. So there's different ways and different things that we are able to do. So I'm not a cookie cutter realtor. I'm well versed because I've done both side of transaction, buyer, seller, and investment. I'm able to guide you the best way for you based on your objective.
All right. So you do a lot then. I mean, this is more than just hey, there's the house, buy it, there you go. You do a lot. You help people from beginning to end. And what kind of services do you have for after the person buy the house? I mean, do you come back and better question. How's your customer
Sure.
service after I buy your house?
Well, that's funny you mentioned that because, like last night, I had to help a buyer of mine help create a quick claim deed. So it all depends. I'm here. I already positioned myself to be your go-to person for forever. So I'm here for whatever comes up. Like I said last night, in the middle of 9 o'clock before I go to bed, I was trying to help somebody complete a quick claim deed. So it all depends on what you need. Whatever it is, do not hesitate to ask. Do not hesitate to start the process. Especially, I had a buyer like a month ago. I met with her. She was dodging me for literally a month and a half because she felt like she wasn't ready and she didn't have the credit score. But all I'm trying to do is give you the information so when you are ready, you will be more educated and more able to make that decision. So don't be afraid to call us. We're not here to pounce on you and say, let's get to the closing table now. I'm not about that. I'm about providing information and value so that way you're able to make the most educated most educated decision for your family.
All right, perfect. All right, so what's the quick 1 minute thing that you can say to my viewers, that little piece of information that you want to leave them with, and of course your information, your telephone number is on here, so they can always reach you. That is correct, right? 954-687-2842, and that's your email address, so they can this way they can reach you. So what other
Yes, that
information
is
would you like
those
to?
information is correct. And then, the one thing I want to say to your viewers, thank you so much for having me and hearing me out. I know in Florida and a lot of places, there's a lot of realtors. I'm the realtor. I'm not a realtor. I do this for a living. I have passion for this. This is something I live and breathe every day. And once a person buy a house, I always try to remind you, find a way to create that wealth, whether you're buying your property by yourself or I tell you or I teach you or I guide you to different other ways. You could be involved in real estate because there's stocks in real estate. There's different other things other than buying a property in real estate. So if you ever want to be involved in real estate, whether it's buying a property, stocks, being involved in crowdfunding, I am here for all of it. I am here to guide you and give you information.
All right, perfect. All right, so Lulu, I thank you very much for being on the show today. You gave us a lot of information. You gave us a lot to think about. I know there are a lot of people out there that are looking to buy, like Glenn is looking to buy, and there are a lot of others out there. They can reach out to you anytime. Your telephone number and everything's right
Please.
on the screen. Again, thank you very much, and give the baby a kiss for me. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You guys, talk to you
I'll talk to you later.
soon. Bye.
So everybody, you got the information that you needed from Lulu. So definitely reach out to her. Her information is right here. If for some reason you missed the information, you can always go to my website, and you can see all the information there. All right. Again, as always, Lunchtime Talk with Steve. There's the website. Click on when you go to whether it's Facebook or YouTube, make sure you like the page. So click on subscribe. If you're on YouTube, click on that little bell down on the bottom so you'll know whenever we go live. All right. Thank you very much for watching. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger, all right? There's a lot that's going on right now. If you have a vehicle, someone else doesn't, just go ahead and give them a ride to the food bank. Let them get a little bit of food. Oh, by the way, we are going into hurricane season. All right. This is something that you guys really need to be careful of. We're going into hurricane season. Start stocking up on your supplies now. Don't wait until they tell you there's a hurricane to run out there and go get water and get batteries and get all these things. Start stocking up now. Start stocking when you go to Walmart. Pick up a little bit of every time you go to Walmart, pick up extra canned goods. Pick up I don't know, some extra batteries, some extra water every time. And this way, when they say, "Oh, there's a hurricane coming," you don't have to run and go and wait in the long lines. Come on, people. It's hurricane season every year. We know when it's coming. Don't wait. Prepare now. All right. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other, and do a random act of kindness for a stranger. All right. Peace. Be.
La la